Cincinnati returns home Saturday night to take on the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and for now, that home remains Nippert Stadium on the campus of UC.
But the team is closing in on that stadium deal that would move the club to the West End. Cincinnati City Council signed off on a deal to build there earlier this week. It was thought that maybe that would be enough to spark Major League Soccer into announcing FC Cincinnati as the latest team to join the professional league. But the MLS Board of Governors said, we're going to keep talking. Here to break down where we stand now, our good friend, FC Cincinnati President Jeff Berding. Jeff, good to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you.
So congrats on getting the sign-off from City Council.
Thank you.
I want to start with the MLS Board of Governors. Were you out there at that meeting?
No, they were in LA, and I was here focused on beating Pittsburgh on Saturday night.
Okay. So give us the rundown of what you were able to take away from what they said at the meeting, even though they didn't give us the bid yet.
I had a very brief phone call.
Okay.
Just a very brief one. Said they had a great meeting and they'd be back in touch with us here in a couple days. I anticipate probably today we have at least some sort of update. But at this point,
yes or no today, you think?
Maybe, but I want to remind you, when Nashville and our group were in New York City for the expansion on December the 6th, Nashville got announced on December the 20th, 2 full weeks later, in market. They're not going to make an announcement from New York City. We're not going to put out a press release. I envision something happening where they would come to Cincinnati, make the announcement. I think we're probably within the week of having some good news, but until we actually hear from MLS, and I had a 2-minute conversation. I just don't know a whole lot yet.
And you've never wavered much from being very positive about what that outcome will ultimately be. But are you, and I kind of asked you as you came in the room, are you just sort of ready for all of it to be over? And by that I mean it seems like there's been deadline after deadline, after there's going to be an announcement, then we're going to wait until later. It just seems like it's, let's get this done. Do you feel that way?
Oh, certainly. I want to get focused on 25,000 people plus at Nippert and our team, who's a very good team this year, winning a lot of games, competing to bring a championship. That's what's brought us to this point, is how wonderful this has been for an entertainment, for a civic pride. I want to get back to that and get out of the politics and development deals and stadiums and get back to the fun part. Obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals, when they were formed in '67, '68, that didn't happen overnight either. There was an awful lot of work. They had to come through the plans to build Riverfront Stadium. And so I think some people maybe forget that this is a very complex deal. Our ownership group's putting up $400 million. It's a growing league, a young sport in our country. And these things take some work. You know, in politics they call it sausage making. You like the outcome and how it tastes. You don't want to see it made, really.
Sure.
We've been through the sausage making part.
Can we talk about the West End for a minute? You went through a great deal of ups and downs with the West End Community Council residents there, city leaders, City Council. Talk to me about going forward. What is FC Cincinnati going to do now that it looks like it will be in the West End to make the people who live there, who are really still kind of upset about this, to get them on board with having the team in the stadium there? What are you going to do?
Well, we've engaged for about 4 months, pretty nonstop in the West End. We went door to door to over 1,000 doors. I personally went door to door talking to residents. We did telephone calls to the people that we couldn't reach door to door, over 600 calls. Once we talk to people, about 75 to 80% have been supportive. But there's about 50 or so people that come to every single meeting, and it literally is the same folks, who have their voices heard, and they are very passionately against this. Some live in the West End, some don't live in the West End. We've committed, we will sign a legally binding community benefits agreement. We're going to work with the neighborhood in terms of parking and security and beautification and traffic. We're going to do all those things. We're going to invest in some of the great nonprofits, mostly focused on kids. We're going to work with the Port Authority. They're going to put new housing development in that area. And we think over time, the skeptics, the cynics, I look forward to converting them and having them come to our games. There's going to be lots of jobs and economic opportunity to a neighborhood that needs that. And I think over time, people will be like, you know what? FC Cincinnati's been really good for the West End.
And for right now, focus on Saturday and beating the Pittsburgh team. That sound about right?
There's a special rivalry between our cities. Let's be honest. We don't like each other. I was at the Bengals 19 years, beating Pittsburgh. I said to the team, you want to win the city over? Beat Pittsburgh.
All right, Jeff Berding. Thank you for your time. Very much.
Thank you.
All right.